So I'm going to hit record, and I will usually share the screen. I'm going to go over the syllabus that I've sent you. Some of you got it 3 or 4 times already, but I need to go over the rules and regulations for our class. Okay. The textbook looks like this. Stewart's Calculus. Okay. I've got that in the syllabus, and I'll be going over the syllabus also right now. Now, I realize some of you have some calculus background, some of you don't. I will be lecturing, assuming you've never had calculus in your life, which is, a natural assumption to make. So if you had some calculus in the background, great. There'll be times when you actually don't get to use it, but I'll see. Something else I
Professor,
want to mention.
is the book available online?
The book is available online, yes.
Is there a link that you can provide, or?
Is there a link I can provide? I can't get one right away, sorry.
Okay,
I'm
yeah,
sure you
it's
can look it
fine.
up online, or maybe Prasanna's got that ready.
Okay.
But yeah, feel free to ask questions. Yeah, but as you might guess, during class time, mute yourselves, please. But if you ever have a question, you can unmute or put it in the chat. Actually, putting in the chat is probably preferable because sometimes, the audio gets bad, like you heard with Prasanna, it was kind of coming in and out. So we'll see how it goes. Okay, now a lot of this stuff here doesn't apply because we're not face to face, and I'll tell you what it is. Like this is my CSM office, but obviously we're not doing that. Okay, here are my email addresses. You can email me at any place. This one goes to City College of San Francisco, where I also teach. This is the SMCCD one. If you want, you can email me at either one. Every semester, one or the other tends to go down. So, if you want to be safe, send it to both places. Office hours, 8 to 9 by appointment. You have to set up an appointment with me if you want 8 to 9. Otherwise, 10 to 11 every day by Zoom. I should have sent you the Zoom link for that. Fridays, extra 11 to 1. I also sent you the Zoom link for that. Okay, student learning outcomes. You can read this or not. It's legal. Say, what are we covering in the course? This is it. Okay, protocol. So you're expected to attend class every day. I told you my rules. So I usually will open up around 9:05. I'll start taking attendance, have your camera on, and then once I start lecture, you can turn your camera off. If you want to have an artificial background, that's okay. So even though we're remote, you are supposed to attend class. So if you have absences, I can take away points for not showing up, okay? And including tardies. If you keep showing up tardy, I don't like that either, of course. So you can read all of this. Typical class, there'll be lecture, of course, maybe an in-class assignment. Generally, there's a weekly quiz or an exam every Friday. You have the schedule, so you've seen the schedule. And quickly show you. So Friday quiz, exam, quiz. Well, we have a 4-day weekend in February, I guess. So quiz, exam. So every Friday, or generally the last day of the week, is either a quiz or an exam. Okay. And so I'll try to follow the schedule for the most part. As you can see today, which is just introduction, but I'll try to sneak in a little bit of 1.1. Okay. This schedule is not set in stone. I might fall behind or I might get ahead. We'll see how it goes. But this is the game plan for now. And these are all the assignments for the entire semester. You've got that already, hopefully. I sent that to you several times. Okay. And this is the coverage for every exam. So this is the first test, second test, third test, fourth test, fifth test. It's pretty much one chapter per test. Okay, there's a chapter 1 test, a chapter 2 test, chapter 3 test, chapter 4 test, chapter 5 test, except for there's 4.9 included with what I'm calling the chapter 5 exam. Okay. All right, so you can read, a lot of this is legal. So you can read it as you wish. Okay. This paragraph here mostly says don't disturb the class, but that kind of applies more if we meet face to face. Here it's almost impossible to disturb the class if you're muted, so but you can read it anyway. Then here's other legal stuff. There's a paragraph on sexual misconduct. I put it there because I have to. Here's something on equity. I put it there because I have to. You can read it or not. Okay, attendance. If you have 4 or more unexcused absences, I may drop you from the class. Again, remember, I count tardy as an absence. I count leaving early as an absence also. Okay. Sometimes I'll take a second row at the end, and besides, I can tell especially, via Zoom, who leaves early, right? So I can see how long you're on at Zoom. I can tell if you join at 9:05 or if you join at 9:15, and I can tell if you leave at 9:50 instead of 10 o'clock, right? So you're supposed to be here the whole time. Now, as I mentioned in emails earlier, I think many days if I finish early and you have no questions, then we'll just stop. Okay. If you have an excuse for an absence, let me know. I will excuse almost anything under COVID, just give me a reason. I'm probably going to accept it. Okay. If you have problems with your computer, that happens a lot. I had problems with my computer just 15 minutes before class started. I wasn't sure I was going to be able to log on with you guys. I had some problems with my computer, but I got it back up. Okay. So you can read that effective absence. I have something called an effective absence. You can read what that is about. Okay. Homework's a biggie. This is very important. Okay. So there's homework just about every class meeting. Now, you know how far you're supposed to go because you've got the schedule and you've got this. Okay, so you don't have to ask, hey, am I supposed to do 1.1 or 1.2 or whatever? As I'm doing each section, you're supposed to do that. Okay, and sorry, this for some reason this thing likes to switch to yellow every now and then. Okay, and for those of you trying to add, I'll tell you exactly what you need to do, on a day-by-day basis. Okay. Now, you must turn in at least 70% of the homework in order to have your exam graded. Okay, I only collect the exams. I only collect homework on exam days. So you say, when do I turn in the homework? Not every day, not even every week, but every test by test. Okay, those of you that are trying to add to class, that's a difference. Okay, you have to submit the homework every day. That way you can tell me that you're serious. Once I let you into class, or if I tell you you can't get into class, then game over. But once I say you're in the class, then you don't have to do that anymore. Then you're just like everybody else. But for now, I want to see if you're trying to add, are you serious with keeping up and doing the homework? Okay. But for those of you already enrolled, all of this homework right here, 1.1 to 1.5, you turn that in on Friday to 5. Okay. So I take the homework just test by test. And then when do I turn in 2.1 to 2.8? You turn that in on Friday, 2/26, and so on. Okay. You must turn in at least 70% of the homework in order for me to grade your exam. So if you don't have at least 70% of your homework or you don't turn it in, then guess what? I don't grade your exam. Okay. That's the way it's going to work. Okay. And it is a little bit of a safeguard for me that, now, I know, we all know it's a lot easier to cheat under this environment. Right. So one way I can get around this is, okay, you have to turn in at least 70% of the homework. You got to do the homework. Okay. I mean, you can probably, not that I'm encouraging it, you can probably, find somebody to cheat for you and help you take the test, or, there's lots of ways to cheat, I suppose. And by the way, I'm not all that ignorant. I know a lot of them. Okay. But it's not likely you're going to get someone who wants to do all the homework for you. Right. So you got to do the homework. And I look at the way you write it too. Right. So yes, now I'm not a handwriting expert, but I'll look and see, okay, does the writing on the homework look like the writing on the test? And say, hey, whoever wrote this test doesn't look like the person who wrote the homework, right? So what's going on here, right? So that way I can also get suspicious. Okay, quizzes. Yeah, I do see some of you putting stuff in the chat. I can't read the chat now. Go ahead and put stuff in the chat. Maybe Prasanna can help me out with a lot of that, but if I have time, I'll go back and look at the chat also. Okay, quizzes. Most of this does not apply because we're not face-to-face. Okay, so for spring 21, quizzes will be group work on Zoom in breakout rooms. Okay, that includes this coming Friday. Okay, so what normally happens on quiz days, including Friday, I'll stop when it gets to be 20 minutes left, 15 minutes left, or something like that. Okay, I'll give you a quiz question or 2 or 3 or whatever. I'll set you in your breakout rooms. Okay, and you'll help each other out. I'm not going to make you turn your cameras on, but it just seems a little bit weird when you're trying to help each other out and you can't see anybody, right? I think it's a little bit strange, but I'm not going to make you. Okay, and then before class ends at 10 o'clock, you have to submit your quiz. Okay, and a reminder, some of you had me in the past where I did quizzes differently. If you had me in the past, like last semester, that was then, this is now. So this is the way I'm going to do it now. So I'll give you the quiz like at 9:40, 9:45. You have to submit it by 10 o'clock. Everybody in your group, you'll be in groups of 3 or 4. So everybody puts all of your names. So you put your name, and students, A, B, and C, whatever. Okay, all 4 of you put your name, and everybody submits that quiz, and everybody will get the same grade in the quiz. I will decide to pick just one of you. Okay, so you've got yourself and Mary and Jane and Joe, let's say. Okay, so all 4 of you will put all of your names on it. Okay, all of you put all of your work on it. Okay, but I'll just pick one of you and I'll grade that person, and whoever that person I decide to grade, you're all going to get the same grade. Okay, so that means whoever's the whiz, you're the straight A student, you have to try to get everybody else to put the same thing, because I might not pick your quiz in your breakout room. I might pick somebody else's quiz. So your job is to try to get everybody to say the same thing. Okay. All right, participation. It doesn't mean you have to keep raising your hand or put something in the chat or whatever. Just show up. Don't do anything I don't like, and so on. And let's see. Also, I may from time to time, maybe even today, but I'm not sure if I have time, but I may ask you an open-ended question, about math or maybe not about math, and just answer in the chat. You can put it as a private chat. Okay, I'm not really going to grade them, so it's not really a gotcha and you lose points for it, but I do want you at least to try. Okay, the thing for this participation, the worst thing to do is not to try, or to just kind of shrug it off and just put anything you feel like. I want you to at least try. Oh, I think the answer is x squared. The answer is 11x minus 30 or whatever. Okay, and you just put that in the chat. Okay. Unexcused absences are -4. So that's part of that. Okay, our netiquette, I've already gone over most of this. So have your actual name, have your cameras on at the beginning, but once I get started, you can turn it off. Okay, mute yourselves unless you want to say something a little bit later. Okay, we are in class. I know most of you are home, but don't get too comfortable. You shouldn't show up in your pajamas or underwear or something like that. Be somewhat reasonable. I know you're home, but and of course you can turn your camera off after a while. Shared class list. If you're willing to be in a shared class list with emails and phone numbers, let me know. You can put that in the chat now or send me an email. Okay, and I'll distribute the list only to those for whom I have permission to give out phone numbers and email addresses. This is separate. Okay, so if you're willing to be on a phone list with others in the class, okay, then after a certain amount of time, I'll give that phone list just to people who said they're willing to be in the phone list. And separately, if you're willing to be on a shared email class list, okay, and there's 15 of you, 20 of you, I will only give that to those 15 people. If you don't want to be in it, then you don't have to, and you won't get anybody else's either. Okay, exams. So closed book and closed notes, but you're allowed a formula sheet, 8.5 and 11. So standard size piece of paper like this, both sides. You can put any notes that you wish. In fact, I'll even help you with that. And you may have a scientific calculator for that. Okay, you shouldn't use a cell phone or books, or don't use a computer, for helping out. You get 15 minutes for the exam. So on exam days, that's all we do. We just do the exam. The questions are similar to the homework assignments. Okay, I don't give any tricks or surprises. They're 100 points each. In general, I don't give makeup or rescheduled exams, but if you think you have an exception, let me know. And you're allowed to drop one exam, which might be part of the final exam. Okay, cheating, there's this whole big legalese on cheating. I'll just summarize it in 2 words. Don't cheat, okay? And and I know under COVID and when we're on Zoom, it's a lot easier to cheat. I know some of the cheating techniques that can go on. I mean, you're muted right now, so, somebody could be yelling the answers to you during the test, right? And maybe I shouldn't have said that because now I just gave you an idea. But there's lots of ways to cheat. So I do want to emphasize this other thing. For each exam, I reserve the right to give an oral follow-up. Okay, if I look at your test and say, this doesn't seem to jive, or you got this problem completely messed up on the homework and you got it right on the exam, or the writing on the homework doesn't match the writing on exam, I may decide to meet you on Zoom and question you. Okay, Mary, show me how you did problem 5. Okay, or Joan, how did you do question 7? Okay, and your oral exam may replace your written exam. Okay, so I reserve the right to do that if I suspect foul play during exams. Okay, disability, if you have a documented disability from DRC, then let me know. Okay, extra credit, there actually is none. Okay, so that was if we met face-to-face, we're not. Okay, extra help, Math Resource Center. This is where it is on campus. Obviously, we're not meeting on campus, but I'll get you, there's a way that you can do this virtually. Okay, seating, of course, doesn't apply. Final exam is a final worth 300 points. Here's the date, Monday, May the 24th, 8:10 to 10:40. Okay, here's our course breakdown. Okay, so 5 exams plus 1 final exam, that's 800 points, but you get to throw out 1, so that's 700. Quizzes are 100. Participation is 100, total of 900. And these are the lower bounds for the grades. Okay, and you can see them right there for A minus, B plus, B minus, C plus, C. We're not allowed to give out C minuses. There's no C minuses. D plus, D minus, and F. Okay. So that is that. Here is the schedule. In theory, I was only supposed to do introduction, but I do want to get a little bit in of math today. Okay. Here's all the assignments that are here. Okay. All right. I do know some of you put stuff in the chat, so I'm going to go quickly to the chat, but I do want to do a little bit of math now also. And let's see if I can. Okay, so something that's immediate. Okay, Prasanna. Let's see. Okay, I'll get that a little bit later. So, okay, Madeline, thank you. Okay, graphing calculator. You may use a graphing calculator, but I don't want you to use it. So if you already have one, that's okay. Exams are not cumulative per se. Okay, but yeah, so you can't use the graphing portion of it. A lot of our class is graphing. So if you just punched a function in the calculator, you got the graph. So obviously I don't want you to just do that. Buffer days. Yeah, I put buffer days in case I fall behind. It's not a holiday. Okay, so if you see a buffer day, it's meant to be, oh, if I fall behind or, right? There's some buffer days here and there. So we still show up. Okay, how are exams done? I will give you the exam via Canvas announcement. You just turn your camera on and work it, and then take pictures on your cell phone. Just get your cell phone out and click, 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 or if you can scan it, and then just email it to me and do the same thing for your homework. Okay, and let's see. Homework, same thing. Just take a picture or PDF. That's perfectly fine. Are we using Canvas submission? No, we're generally not going to use Canvas at all, except I'll do Canvas announcements. You don't have to look at the modules. Let's see. So yeah, so for the homework, you turn in all of this stuff, right? Just do it on a piece of paper and, click, 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 and there you go. You should show all your work. Okay, everything we do is show your work. Well, some problems are just quick answer, yes or no, a function, not a function, right? But otherwise, show all your work on your homework, show all your work for your quizzes, show all your work for the exams. Okay, and let's see. Okay, class list, I got that. I'll get that a little bit later. I'm going kind of fast, and so I probably missed some stuff, but I'll check that a little bit later. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'll excuse almost any reason that you have. Yes, unfortunately, I've had students who say because of COVID they couldn't get it. I get it. We all don't want to get COVID, but if somebody gets it, that's obviously a possibility. Okay. Homework. Let's see. Okay, I will show you all the homework. So if you say to yourself, I absolutely cannot buy the book, I will show you all the homework. I'm not going to show you the answers, though, but I'll show you at least, the homework that's there. And let's see. Okay, I think I've caught up with everything. All right, so buffer days still show up. It's just in case I fall behind. If I didn't answer all your questions, then send me an email. I know it's going super fast right here with all of that. Okay, so here's what's going to happen right now. I'm going to get started with some of this. And by the way, in my lectures, guess what? I end up doing a lot of these problems. Okay, you say, man, that looks like a lot of homework problems. I usually end up doing a half of it or 1/3 of it or something like that. Anyway, so that shortens the amount that you have to do. Okay, So 1.1, we still should be recording. Okay. And if I ever forget, then please tell me. Okay. I'm going to show you via the recording. I usually have the recording later by the, later the day, and then a couple hours. Okay. I'll show you all the homework pages. So you say, I absolutely cannot buy the book. Okay. I'm going to show you all the important pages and the homework. Okay. So here's 1.1 on page 19. So let me try to aim it right. So there's some of that, some more on the other side, and some more there, and some more there. And maybe I can move my camera up like that, and like that. Okay. Sorry about the focus. I'm not able to focus, unfortunately, except moving this book up and down a little bit. Okay, next page. And sorry if I'm going fast, but you can always on the recording, you can, go forward and backward as much as you wish. And some more, showing you the right side there, and some more on the left side. I notice if I raise up the book, it focuses better, but I can't leave it up the whole time. Okay, all right, then on page 21, here's some more. And a little bit more on that side. And I'm willing to do this the entire semester. So like last semester, many of my students never got the book. So I just can't afford to pay for the book. I just show all the problems that are here and show you all the key pages, and you never have to buy the book. Okay, so there's that. You say, oh, you went through that too fast. Remember, it's recorded, so you can just look at the recording and slow down and back up as much as you want. Next page. And while I'm showing you all this, chapter 1 is all pre-calc. We're not even doing calc yet. Okay, so we're just reviewing Math 222 or 225 from last time. Okay, here's some more. Some more. Some more. Boy, this book is sure heavy. And some more. And then a little bit more over here. And I'm willing to do this the entire semester if you never want to buy the book. Okay, so there we go. I think we got all that. All right, so I'm going to begin some lecture. We won't go too far, but on the assignment, we had 1 through 4, 7, and 10. I want to get up to at least 10, I suppose. Okay, the back of the book has odd answers. So most of the homework problems, once we get going, are from odds. There are evens from time to time. Okay, and once in a while, as we go through the semester, I might say, oh, I don't like that problem, throw that one out, or I might want to put something in. Okay, but this is going to be correct. So right now you have 95% of all the homework for the entire semester. So there's not any surprise. You shouldn't be surprised, what's going to be covered on the test, what's due for the homework. This is it, unless once in a while I say, oh, I don't really like that problem, throw that one out. Or I might say, oh, I want to put in question, blah, blah, blah. But for the most part, this is it. Okay, so let me get started with a little bit. Okay, so 1.1, number 1, this is on page 19. Okay, so it says if f of x is x plus radical 2 minus x, g of u is u plus radical 2 minus u, is it true that f equals g? Are these two the same function? Okay, in this particular case, I'll go ahead and just tell you the answer is yes. Okay, they represent the same function. The only change, if you look very carefully at these two functions, is that they replace x with u, but otherwise it's the same thing, right? F of x, put an x there, g of u, put a u there and u there. So for number 1, the answer is yes, they are the same. And that one's just yes, no. Okay, so you say, well, what work is there? There isn't any work. This one, just put yes or no. Now, once we get going, on heavy duty math, then you should show me every step for every homework, every quiz, and every test, right? But for this one, it's just, yes, they're the same. Okay, question 2. If f of x equals that and g of x is that, is it true that f equals g? Okay, now a lot of these problems I've already pre-done, so I will just show you on my notes that I've done previously over here. So I'm going to take this away. You say that was too fast, don't worry, I've got it over here. And again, you can always look back at the video. Okay, ignore dates. Okay, the dates are from the last time I taught it, but never mind about that. Are these two the same function? Okay, well, you realize from the numerator, I can factor out the top, right? I can factor out an x times x minus 1 over x minus 1, and you cancel these out and you get x. So at first glance, you might say, well, they are the same. Technically, they're not the same. Okay, and here's the reason one. The reason why g of 1 actually exists, right? But f of 1 does not exist. Our abbreviation for does not exist is DNE. So get used to that. We'll be writing that quite a bit in this class. DNE does not exist. Okay. Now, sometimes in algebra, we get kind of sloppy where we just say, oh, simplify this and it's okay, factor out the x, cancel x minus 1, it's equal to x. So then we say, oh yeah, that is equal to x. Very, very technically, though, they're not the same because you're not allowed to plug in 1 here, right? So f of 1 is not allowed because I'll be dividing by 0. But g of 1 is allowed. Okay, so technically, they're not quite equal. They're equal everywhere except at x equals 1. Okay, so when we do this in algebra 1, you know how when you go like that to that, you really should say these two are the same except when x equals 1. Because when x equals 1, this is not allowed. But when x equals 1, this is allowed. So f of 1 does not exist. Okay. All right, so that was 1 and 2. So how do you like that? We've already finished some of the homework, right? Okay, 3 and 4 are very similar. I'll do 4 for you. I'll let you do 3. They have to do with graphs. So I'll show you some graphs here. Okay, question 4. Okay, you have the graph of f and g. So it looks like you've got one in red and one in blue. Okay, again, this is all being recorded in case you say I'm going too fast or whatever. Okay, so 4. Whenever there's a choice between an even and an odd, I'll try to do the even. So 3 and 4 are similar, but you have the answer to 3 in the back of the book. And likewise, 7 through 10, I'll show you 8 and 10, I suppose. Okay, state the value of f of -4 and g of 3. Okay, so when you see that f or g in the parentheses, the thing inside is always x. Okay, we normally say f of x, right? We almost never say f of y. Did you ever say that in your algebra or pre-calc? You almost never did, right? So this is saying when x is -4, what's y for the f graph, the red graph, right? So look at the red graph. When x is -4, 1, 2, 3, 4, y is down here, so -2. Okay? So the answer to f of -4 is -2. And again, for that one, there's no work. Just state it, and that's it. Right? G of 3. G of 3 means for the blue graph, right? When x is 3, what's y? So for the blue graph, 1, 2, 3, up here. So where's here? 1, 2, 3, 4. So the answer to g of 3 is 4. And again, there's no work for that one. Just put it. Okay, part B. For what values of x is f of x equal to g of x? Well, that means they have the same y value. Interpretation, where do they touch? Right. So 4B, where do they touch? And by the way, you can start even now building a cheat sheet. Okay, remember, you're allowed to have one formula sheet, front and back for the exam. But of course, you know, for trivial stuff, you don't want to do that. I mean, you don't want to use up too much space. So if something's pretty easy, you shouldn't have to put it down on your cheat sheet, so to speak. Okay, so for what values of x are f of x and g of x equal? That means they touch. So they touch here and here. So where are they? And you only want the x value. So that would be what? -2 and 2. So the answer to 4B is -2 and 2. And again, there's really no work. Okay, C. Estimate the solution of the equation f of x equals -1. Okay, now when you see f of x, that means y, right? Y equals -1. We often say y equals f of x, right? In pre-calc or even algebra. Okay, so for the function f, y equals -1. So y equals -1 for f. Looks like there's one here and one over here, right? -1. Okay, so where's here? That looks like -3. And that one looks like +4. So the answers are -3 and +4 for C. Okay, D. On what interval is f decreasing? Okay, we will use that language quite a bit in this class. Increasing and decreasing. Going up, going down, right? Imagine, and our frame of reference is always going from left to right. We're always going this way. We're never going to go from right to left, going from left to right. So if I go this way, pretend this is a ride you're driving, or pretend it's a roller coaster, right? Here you would say you're increasing and then you're decreasing, right? For G, it looks like you're decreasing and then after that you're increasing, right? So for D, asks when is F decreasing? So F is going down on the open interval from 0 to 4. Okay, so the answer to 4D, I can get my pen to work here, is the open interval from 0 to 4. So here's how you would write it. F is decreasing. I'm going to abbreviate decreasing with an arrow going down. That means as I move from left to right, I'm going down. And this is an open interval. Okay, that means it's not counting 0, not counting 4. Let me talk just a moment about that. Okay, so between 0 and 4, the red graph is going down. Where's decreasing? Strictly speaking, right at 0, you're not decreasing. We'll learn more about this later. Right at the top, the slope happens to be 0. You're not going up or down. And then you start to go down. Okay, right at 4, we're not going to say we're going down either, because if you were still going down, there'd be more graph. But there isn't any more graph, right? So it's an open interval from 0 to 4. Okay, E and F, domain and range of F, domain and range of G. Okay, so the domain is a set of all possible X values. Range is a set of all possible Y values. You might recall that from pre-calc. Okay, domain, range, X, Y. Okay, so domain and range. So for E, let's see, they want the domain of F. So this is domain. I'll abbreviate D and R for domain and range. Okay, F, it goes from here to here. So where's here? -1, 2, 3, -4 to 4. And it includes -4 and 4. So that's going to be bracket -4, 4, like so. That's the domain of F. And then it asks for the range of F. So how high and how low does it go? So the lowest for F is down here. That's like -2. And the highest is 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to say -2 to 3 inclusive. Okay, so there's the answer to E. In case you're wondering, you might be saying, hey, it looks like he's giving us all the answers. You're right. These are the actual answers. So each answer that I do, it's a little bit less of the homework you got to do. Good deal? Okay, so that's a little bit less problems that you have to do. Okay, and then domain and range of G. What time is it? Okay, domain and range of G. Okay, so remember domain and range. So domain is how far does X go? So domain and range. Okay, so G goes from here to here, the blue graph. So where's here? -4 to 3, it looks like, inclusive. So bracket -4, 3. Range, how high and how low does it go? This seems to be the lowest, and I'm going to say that's about a half. And it goes as high as here. So where's here? 4. So I would say 1/2 to 4. Right? Okay, so remember domain is for X, range is for Y. It's alphabetical. If I had to make you memorize it, say domain, range, D is before R in the alphabet, X is before Y. Since you can put it down on your cheat sheet, you can go ahead and do that, but I think a lot of you already know domain and range. Okay. All right, last few minutes, I want to introduce 7 through 10, and that was going to be it for today. Okay, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Determine whether the curve is a function of X. If it is, state the domain and range. Okay, I'm going to do domain and range anyway. So never mind about, only do it if it's a function. Give domain and range for 7, 8, 9, and 10 anyway. Okay, so you might recall we have the vertical line test. Okay, so I'll do 8 and 10, you do 7 and 9. Okay, so number 8, if I draw a vertical line anywhere, it's only going to touch at one point. right? So number 8 is a function. Okay, so for number 8, go ahead and put yes, it's a function. 10, it might be kind of hard to see, but it's a step. It kind of goes up like a step. It goes up like that and like that and like that. Okay, so 10 is not a function because if I draw a vertical line right at one of those up levels, then it's going to touch at more than one point, right? So 10 is not a function. Okay. And now ground rules for domain and range. Okay. For 8 and 9, see how they give you these dots there? If they give you those dots, it means the graph stops. It's intended to stop there. Okay. 7, it doesn't. Let's assume it keeps going. And for 10, let's assume it keeps going. Okay, because they don't have these dots to stop it. Okay, so that means for 10, if it keeps going, the domain and range is all real numbers. Okay, so for 10, domain is all real numbers. You can write all real numbers for this funny looking R. Have you seen that funny looking R before? And the range is also all real numbers. Okay, and for 8, however, it's limited. Okay, so I'll do 8, and that's all I was going to talk about. So 8, let's look at 8. X goes from here to here. So where's here to here? -2 to 2. Okay, so for 8, so the domain is -2 to 2. Bracket means I'm including that. And range, so up and down. So it goes from -1 to 2 inclusive. -1 to 2. Okay. Now you might recall bracket means include the endpoint. Parenthesis means don't include the endpoint. So here when I put parentheses, don't include 0, don't include 4. So 4 is not in this set, but 3.999999 is. 0 is not in here, but 0.00001 is in there. Okay. When I write it like that, it does mean include the endpoints. Okay. Now, those of you trying to add, okay, here's your homework to turn in by tomorrow. So I want you to go back and do 7 and 9 and submit that, and also 3. Okay, and I'll show it to you again. So 3, you can look at the video, and 7 and 9. I showed you how to do 4. Just do something similar. I showed you 8 and 10. You do 7 and 9. Okay, so for people trying to add 3, 7, and 9, submit by tomorrow. Okay, now for those of you trying to add, okay, if you don't turn it in, it doesn't mean I'm not going to let you in the class, but you have a smaller chance of getting in. And also, I need to say, even if you do turn this in, that doesn't mean you are going to get in. Okay, I'm talking about who's serious and who's not. Okay, I'm already sort of over enrolled. Okay, so just because you turn it in doesn't guarantee you're getting in, and just because you don't turn it in doesn't mean I'm not going to let you in, but you're, making things a little bit harder on you, so to speak. Okay, all right, that's as much as I want to do today. Let me go back to the chat and see how far I can get. I probably can't get everything, so sorry about that. You can send me emails about everything. Are we using Canvas? Basically, we're not using Canvas at all, except I'm giving you Canvas announcements. Let's see. You just, again, I talked about homework. They're on the syllabus. Show your work. Okay, somebody put down that they wanted to. Okay, I got that. Okay, so yeah, if you want to be included in the phone list and shared email, you can go ahead and put it now. I'll check the chat a little bit later. Okay, quizzes. I'll show you the quiz. So when it comes to quiz day, I'll just put it up like this, and then you just work on it right there. Thank you, Prasanna, for helping me on that. Where can you see the assigned homework problems? They're on. Here's all the homework. You got it. There's the whole thing, right? You already have the syllabus. Let's see. If you're in a car, that's fine. Okay, and let's see. Cinderella, I got you for attendance also. If you missed the attendance, let me know. Okay. I'll post the recordings on Canvas announcement. They'll be on YouTube. The homework is on the syllabus. Okay, so don't look on Canvas, look in the syllabus. I sent you several emails on that, so please get it. If you're not sure, send me an email later. Syllabus. The homework is just from the book, that's right. You won't see anything on Canvas. Again, Canvas is pretty much just for my announcements. Do you need to write the questions? No, you don't, unless it's a crucial part of it, like if there's some part of the graph that you need to refer to. But otherwise, you don't have to write down the actual question. You know the question, I know the question, it's from the book. Okay. You can buy the textbook through the bookstore, or you can get it online. Or if you never want to buy the book, you can just get it off of what I'm showing you. That's perfectly fine. Some of you thank you, those of you who've given other places to get it through Amazon and some other places. You can rent, that's perfectly fine. Check, you can do, that's also fine. Homework is based on effort mostly. I don't look for correct answers. You've got the answers in the back. I look for effort. You can't just put the answers though. I want to see, you show your work. Okay. Yes, just email it to me. Same thing as for the test. Let's see. I'll send you by the end of the day that. Okay. And let's see. There was some more. I think I've caught up. Okay. I'm not positive I've caught up, but I think I've caught up. So that. Okay. So otherwise, I'm done, folks. If I didn't catch everything, send me an email because when I've got hundreds of people putting stuff in the chat, I certainly might miss it. So if I didn't get your question, then send me an email a little bit later. Those of you trying to add, your assignment is due 3, 7, and 9, and submit it by class tomorrow. Let's say 9, 10 by tomorrow. Again, here's 3, here's 7, and 9. You say I'm already enrolled in the class. If you're already enrolled in the class, you don't have to do it. Okay, that's for everybody else. Okay, I see it's just about 10 o'clock. Some of you have stopped to share. Check the chat real quickly. And some more there. Okay, I think we're done. All right, folks, that'll do it for today. So everybody have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Okay. All right. Bye, everybody. Have a good day.
Professor.
Thank you.
Professor.
Yes.
You said you want to see me, like I think my class is not added yet or something.
Yeah. Okay. Let me write it on the chat. Okay. Everybody else, you can leave. We're done. You may leave. Contract plan, I sent it through the chat.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you, Prasanna. Thanks again. Looking forward to a good semester.
I hope so.
Yeah. Okay. Contract part, I'll check, but for now, just assume you're okay. Okay. All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
I just wanted to check in with you really quickly, Professor.
Yes,
Hi,
Charlotte.
Charlotte, I emailed you like a week ago, the day
Yes.
we got our syllabus, because I have a work thing on the day of the first exam.
Yes. That's fine.
I just wanted to check in, just so you could like put a name to the face. I don't know.
Sure. I've got it on my calendar, but you can remind me about that also when we get closer, Charlotte.
Yeah, I definitely will email you the week of. I just wanted.
So I think we're good.
That's good. Thanks.
Thanks, Charlotte. Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.